later on. In the finished game, our graphics will look absolutely amazing, but we'll get there soon enough. For now, let's learn how to create gradient colors.
Besides simple colors, we can create color transition gradients. I will draw, for example, such a rectangle. Simple colors are clear. I go to the fill section and choose any color shade. But besides this, I can select a gradient. Right here, I choose gradient. At the top, I select what type of gradient it will be, linear or radial. If it is a linear gradient, it will look like this. That is, at the top, I choose radial gradient or linear gradient. If it is a radial gradient, it will look like this. Let's start with a linear gradient. I created a gradient. It seems to be from green to white, but actually no. In fact, it goes from green to green. It's just that the lower point of my gradient is transparent. Here, I have the gradient selected. I can see the start and end points of the gradient. If I select the starting point, then on the right, in the fill section, I can choose any color for this gradient. I see that it is green, and the transparency parameter, alpha, is set to 100. More precisely, the opacity parameter. The color is 100% opaque. Now I will take the lower point and select this one. I select the lower point, and we see that the color is green, but the alpha parameter is 0. I will set alpha to 100. Now I will create another shape to make it clearer what I am talking about. For example, I will create a blue circle, and here I will click on the arrow to move the circle under the rectangle. We can see that it is green, but at the bottom it is simply transparent. We begin to see objects underneath it. Now I go back to gradient control. The lower point, I make it completely opaque. Now the gradient goes from green to green, and it is entirely opaque. I can set the lower color to white. Now the lower color is white, and it is opaque. I can also adjust the angle of the gradient. Naturally, I can change the lower point to a dark green, for example. Gradients are useful for adding shadows to objects. Besides that, there is the gradient line. Anywhere along the line, you can double-click, and a new gradient stop will be created. You can assign it a different color. You can create as many gradient stops as you want, each one with its own color. The same applies to the radial gradient. Only in this case, the color is distributed in a circular pattern. If we do not need a particular color stop, we can select it and press delete on the keyboard, and that color will be removed. Now I will take a gradient for the circle. The same process applies. The main purpose of gradients is to create shading, more precisely, shadows. Here I will make the outer area fully opaque as well. That is, it was a transition from blue to blue but with transparency. But I will set the top part to a light color. Here I will add another gradient stop, move it here, and now we can see that our circle looks more three-dimensional. Let's leave it like this. You can add another shade inside. This is how we add volume to our shapes, making them appear less flat and more three-dimensional. We can also copy colors. I will show you one more thing, a tool for copying colors. For example, I have one rectangle like this and another one like that, but they are different colors. I want them to be the same color. There is a tool for that, the dropper tool. Dropper tool. Here, I have the blue rectangle selected. I select the eyedropper. Now I click on the color I want, and it fills with the exact same color. This is very useful for creating objects of the same color. Usually we have many colors in an image, and some of them need to be the same. We can precisely copy colors from another object